Apple unveils OS X El Capitan, iOS 9, watchOS 2, Apple Music, believe it or not, a whole lot more. It's Monday, June 8th, and this is Crunch Report. Happy WWDC, everyone! Did you love it? We actually have a lot to cover in this very short show, so let's get right into it. And if you happen to be an Apple hater, or you're just looking for non-Apple news, don't worry, we have you covered a little later in the show. So let's start with the latest version of OS X, which is 10.11, and officially called El Capitan. The Mail app is getting some new gesture controls. Safari will now allow you to pin tabs within the browser that will always auto-launch to keep you from losing things. Spotlight is getting natural language processing, so you could say something like, "Show me all the mail from Ryan Lawler that I haven't read yet," and it'll serve up your request. Kind of cool. El Capitan also gets new Windows management features that decrease the time resizing a bunch of open windows on a screen, because it'll kind of do that for you. And then the Metal API, which allows for faster graphics performance on iOS devices, will now be in OS X as well for the first time. The developer beta for El Cap is available today, and a public beta launches in July. Let's move on to iOS's next version, iOS 9. As we reported last week, Proactive is a new Siri update that works a lot like Google Now, which is really good at suggesting when to leave for an airport, for example, or to make a meeting. Though Apple says it's different than Google Now because it still respects users' privacy, because Apple is basing it on your own calendar events or your own boarding passes, rather than information that might be parsed from an email. That's the way Google might do it. Apple's iOS Passbook app, which stores bank cards, loyalty cards, and now even store cards, say a Bloomingdale's card, I have one of those, is also getting renamed to Wallet, which is a much better name. What is a passbook anyway? I always wondered that. Apple Pay is also expanding to the UK and will be soon compatible with 70% of the UK's debit and credit cards. Apple also announced a new partnership with Square, which will release a new card reader that will let small businesses take Apple Pay payments and then credit card chip payments. No swipes, though. It has to have a little chip on that card. The announcement that got the biggest cheer from the crowd this morning, though, was Apple open sourcing Swift. Swift is the programming language that it debuted at WWDC last year. This means that developers will get access to the code to Swift compilers and libraries for iOS and OS X. Apple is promising this is going to happen in late 2015. iPads are getting a new split-screen app mode, something that we've heard might be coming for some time to let users run different apps side by side and make the iPad more of a productivity tool, particularly in the enterprise. So let's say you're, I don't know, browsing something in Safari. You can then swipe from the right side of the screen to bring up a view of the Messages app, and then they can both view and share the screen, and both apps are running independently of one another, truly split screen. Another feature, picture-in-picture. So, say you're watching a video, and then you get a notification that an email just came in, and you want to read that email, but you still want to watch your video. You tap the email notification, and then your video continues to play in a little window that's actually movable. More rumors that turned out to be true on stage at WWDC. iOS 9 will also add transit directions to Apple Maps, including information for buses or subway stations, along with step-by-step directions, walking times, overall transit options, is the train actually faster than the bus, etc. Transit directions will start rolling out in several cities in the US and China, as well as London in the UK. On the Apple Watch front, watchOS 2 and a true native app SDK are coming to the platform, with a new function available for third-party developers called Complications. That means that developers can create widgets for the Apple Watch's watch faces, various ones, that make it easier for users to quickly see small bits of information from an app at a glance throughout the day. Developers get the watchOS 2 beta later today, and a public release is set for the fall. Apple CEO Tim Cook did pull a one more thing about 2 hours into the event this morning. Apple's new streaming music service is real, and there's a crazy curveball of a name. Just kidding, it's called Apple Music. This is a direct competitor to Spotify and Rdio and other streaming services with a big catalog of music for a monthly subscription of $9.99 with a 3-month free trial. Apple Music includes native integration with the iOS Music app itself, features curated playlists, special collections curated by top artists, even a live DJ service called Beats One with DJs based in New York City, London, and LA. Apple Music comes bundled into iOS 9 as well, so if you haven't already gotten hooked on another streaming service, it's certainly a good way to get Apple to give you your choice a little bit more easily. A new feature called Connect will let users pull social media content like from Facebook or Twitter or Instagram into the portal. It's basically the modern twist on Ping, which wasn't much of a success and Apple killed a few years ago. Apple Music launches on June 30th on iOS, OS X, and Windows machines with support for Apple TV and Android phones later this fall. So I mentioned that we had some non-Apple news in the show. I was sort of telling the truth. Just listen. A new report from analytics firm Comscore noted that in April, Apple ranked as the top smartphone manufacturer with a 43.1% market share, with the next largest OEM being Samsung with a 28.6% market share. However, Comscore also says Android is still the #1 mobile platform in the US with a 52.2% share, or over half of all users in the States. The other players are barely in the running. Microsoft 3%, BlackBerry 1.5%, Symbian 0.1%. Still hanging on. 188.6 million people in the US own smartphones, according to Comscore, or 76.9% mobile market penetration during the 3 months ending in April. And that is the report for today. I'm Sarah Lane. Crunch Report airs Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on TechCrunch.com. We'll see you tomorrow.